What's up, wizards? I'm your host, Michael Beeson, usually of Hacking Fate, but occasional co-host of My Astro World as well. So I figured that I would throw together a quick video companion guide to the Beginner's Guide to Uranian Astrology. Uranian Astrology is really cool. There's a lot of interesting things going on with it, with the Trans-Neptunians, and it being very closely connected to the Arabic parts in its inception. I definitely recommend that you check it out. Unfortunately, I don't have time to go over all the specifics in this video. Instead, I'm very specifically going over the recipes and some assignments that you can do once you get a basic handle on the most simple basics in order to start building your skill as a Uranian astrologer. So to begin with, we want to go to uranianastrologyschool.com. I have it up here, and I also have it down here. So you can hop on to the interwebs and plug that URL in, and it will bring you to this page. And what you'll do is click on the menu, and in the menu, we go down to blogs, and that's going to bring up the blogs page. There are a lot of really cool blogs here, but what we're after for our purposes is the Beginner's Guide for Uranian Astrology. Just grab the PDF here, and once you download it, it'll look like this. Boop. So this is kind of the one-on-one, and we might do an overview of all of this stuff later for another thing. Just let me know in the comments if that's something that you'd be interested in, going over all the Trans-Neptunians and the language in detail. Again, what we're doing mostly here is showing you how to use this book after you've read it. So what we'll do is, if you contact myself or Anna Sanchez, you can find us in the Discord server. How do you get the Discord server? You go to myastroworld.com, and the link to the Discord server will be right there. You'll be able to find a way to come in, and we will be able to hook you up with your chart, and we'll be able to hook you up with pretty much the exact same thing that is in this book for Ruth. Ruth is just useful as a starting place. And I know I'm driving some of you guys nuts with my scrolling. I'm sorry, that's my life. I'm a scroller. You gotta get used to that. I'm a wizard. I'm cool. You can learn all kinds of cool stuff, but this is gonna be a thing that you have to deal with. So here is Ruth Brumman's chart, and who Ruth Brumman is and why she's so important to Uranian astrology is in the history of this book. Again, more reason to read. And this is a basic Uranian 90-degree chart. So what we will be looking at is we'll be looking at the midpoints that are on her ascendant. And this is what we usually do for the first thing that you'll do when you're starting to work on Uranian astrology. You'll look at what are called the personal points. And where do you find out about what these points mean and what all this stuff is? You buy this book. And this is Alfred Witte's Rules for Planetary Pictures, The Astrology of Tomorrow. We don't sell this book, and we don't make money off of this book, but it is super important for you to get the book if you want to give this a try. Now, do not buy it on Amazon, where it costs $5,000 for a copy. This book can be got for cheaper, closer to $30, and there are two ways you can find it that way. If your Google Foo is strong, you can search the internet and find the source yourself. If you need a little help, go to myastroworld.com and hop in the Discord, and you can talk with us, or you go to the same URL you downloaded it, the Uranian Astrology School, and you can poke around there and you'll find links and places to buy this for much cheaper than the $5,000 it is on Amazon. Again, do not buy on Amazon. Do not buy it on the usual places you would buy books. It's in a very specific place, and you have been given a quest. So go forth and do your side quest, or wait till after this is over, and then you can do the side quest. So how do we start playing with a chart in the beginning? we take a look at what are called the personal points again. The Aries point, which is you in the world, how the world sees you and how you contribute to the world. The meridian is who you are, it's your I, it's what you want. Spiritually, it's what you move towards. The ascendant is your environment or the environment of the person, and it's how their environment is perceived by them and how they interact with the environment would be these things together. The sun is going to be your physical body, connection to the physical world. Moon is emotional and emotional connection, emotional experiences. The node is your relations to other people. And then these are special, and you can look them up in the book, and you can also drop into the Discord server and talk with us about them, and we'll explain why we put them on here. And again, you drop in the Discord server and we'll hook you up with your chart and your table of things. Now, how do you actually work with this? And we're using Ruth as an example. So what we would start with is we'd look at the Aries point. And what is all this crazy stuff, this weird symbols on this Aries point? Well, we'll jump down to the bots because that's going to be a little bit more interesting and all this stuff's going to be crowded. So we have Sun, and that weird symbol is Pisces. Pisces, what am I on? Poseidon. Not Pisces. Pisces, totally different thing. That's a sign. Poseidon is a trans Neptunian. So this is saying that Sun Poseidon equals this. There's a lot of, in Uranian astrology, it's really related to the lots. It's very much about midpoints. So you end up with the midpoints or half sums of a thing equaling something else. And yes, there's a difference between midpoints and half sums. No, we're not getting into that today. So here is the Aries point. You can see that at the top. And then we have Sun, and then we have Poseidon. Sun, Poseidon. So where's the middle? The middle's right there. But we also have this node, Mercury. See? So node, Mercury. Node, Mercury. The midpoint is somewhere in here, about here. So you can see how it's on this axis. So this axis, all things on this axis are considered mostly the same, especially for our purposes. Since we're just starting out, all the things that end up here are the same. So that would tell us that node Mercury equals Aries point because it's the same. And then we also have Mercury Apollon. So there's Mercury. There's Apollon. Mercury Apollon, the midpoint is right about here. And that equals the Aries point. So that's how the midpoints are laid out. So how do we begin an analysis of this? Well, everyone has every midpoint and half sum in their chart. Every single half sum you can have is in your chart. It's just a question of if it's active. So we're looking for active midpoints. They become active when they are on a point themselves. So a midpoint would be Sun, Poseidon. Sun, Poseidon is a midpoint, and it is on the Aries point. So it's active in the world. So that's how we do that. And again, going over this after reading will help tremendously, or even watching this first and then reading, and then maybe rewatching the video, that will help everything clear up. So what we'll do is discuss the first kind of assignment that you would do yourself with your copy of Rules for Planetary Pictures and your chart and your axis list. You could do this manually, but why when we can just give it to you, right? So what we will do is we'll bring up Word and we look at Aries. Well, what is Aries? The Aries point, we do have it defined. So the definition is going to be in here. And we have, where is it? I feel like I should have a song. Let's find the point. Where is the point? Where is the point we're trying to find? Where is the point? Where is the point? Where is the point? The Aries point. There it is. So, Aries point. Situations among the world, out in the world, public, in personal conditions, situations out in the open, earthly matters in general, the world in general, reference point for the zodiac. So, we will grab this, and we're just going to go ahead and copy it. And then what I will do is I will take it and I will paste this here. So now we know what the Aries point is. And now we're going to start evaluating midpoints that are on the Aries point. So we go back over here and pop on up to Ruth's stuff. So Aries Jupiter is on Aries. But the Aries point is made up of Aries. Like the Aries point's part of what makes Aries Jupiter. So how can you have Aries Jupiter on Aries? You can't. It's not an active midpoint. It is late. You'll see why later elsewhere, but it's not active on Aries because Aries is one of the energies or one of the points that composes it. So we know that anything with Aries, we're not going to be able to worry with, right? And you'll see that in the beginner's guide, Anna's highlighted a few things because she explains those things in her delineation of Ruth's information because she's looking for what Ruth did in the world. So she wants to be able to point at things that are going on with Ruth, and that's why all these things are highlighted. So this is the stuff that the world knows about Ruth. And it would be very hard for us to be able to do like Meridian Moon. What is Meridian Moon? Well, that's the first one on here. So let's find out. So we'll take this and we'll do the super cheap little clicks, MCMO for Meridian Moon. And that's going to be equal to AR, equal to the Aries point. Well, before we even do that, we should probably ask what the Meridian Moon is. Meridian Moon. Well, okay, fine. We'll just skip. We'll be lazy with it. MCMOAR. Okay. This is mental attitude towards the world in general. Feminine influences. Comments about women. Okay. That's part of Ruth's experience, I'm sure. Being a woman in the world, it would only make sense that she'd have some feminine influences as well. So, and then we would take a look at the next one. And next we have Meridian Pluto. So that would become MCPLAR, for MCPL equals AR. And that one's development depends on the general world or community conditions. And you can see how each one of these is like a little sentence. And when you start combining all of this together, you'll start to see how all of this tells one story. And that is the story of Ruth Brumman's life, or of your life, since that's what you'll be working on this yourself. And then we go on down the list and hit ascendant moon equals AR. And that is acquaintances with women in public, meeting with women of one's acquaintance, to be known by many people, appearing in public. Okay. Oh noes. And yes, I am cheating and copy pasting. No, I will not send you the file. There are study aids that you have to make yourself. And then we will continue on down. And that would be, okay. Ascendant Pluto equals AR. New acquaintances at new location. In constant life, learning to know other places, uncertain situations. Uncertain situations, sorry. You guys will see why I read it that way there. And we're only going to do another 1 or 2 of these before I show you what's going to happen next and what you'll need to do. Okay. And then next we finally get to that Sun Poseidon. So we'll do Sun Poseidon, SUPOAR. And that is men who are high-minded, spiritualized, delicate, diminutive. I would say that spiritualized is probably the most important thing on there. And again, in the beginner's guide itself, it goes into much more detail about how this can be interpreted, at least the beginnings. So we have a handful of Brahman's points. You'll just go ahead and continue down on your own and do every single one that's under the Aries point. And you'll eventually hit these places, like right here. You see how there's an asterisk and Jupiter asterisk? So that tells us that Jupiter is on top of the Aries point. How does that look on the actual wheel itself? See, Jupiter is so close to the Aries point that you can see it on top of it. And you also see that with a couple of other planets like Uranus and Hades. So here is Jupiter, here is Hades, and here is Uranus. See, it's not 100% on there, but it's close enough for government work within a degree. So what we would do at that point is you've taken all of these points and you have done them the same way I've been doing here, right? What you would then do is when you got to Jupiter, you would go back up and you'd say, wait a minute, Jupiter is equal, these weird points that use Aries, these are equal to Jupiter. So I can say that Aries, Jupiter, wait, I can't say that because Jupiter and Aries are both there. Never mind on that one. But I can say Aries, Saturn equals Jupiter. So what you'll want to do is go back up and do something like this. ARSA equals JU. So what is that? And that is changes of property. I know everybody goes through that in their lives, but bear with me. There's going to be a lot of places where you'll find that kind of thing while doing this work. And again, it's about building this reoccurring pattern picture of who this person is, and you should be doing who you are so you can figure out how all these things interrelate. And then what we'll do is just move on down the list. And we started with the moon, the meridian moon, right? So meridian moon equals Aries. Well, meridian moon also equals Jupiter. So we would come over here and we have this MCMO equals AR, and right underneath it, to keep things kind of tidy, MCMO equals JU. So we would just come over here, MCMO JU. And that tells us good-natured, with a fortunate state of mind. Time of confinement. Happy hours for women. And we take that and put that there. And you just go through and do everything under Aries. So that will give you an idea of what your experience of the world is, or rather what the world's experience of you is. And you want to kind of read through all of that, and I always advocate contemplating it. It's only a tiny piece of who you are. Each one of these points is going to tell you a bit more of that story, but the Aries point is, again, who you are in the world and who the world sees you as. So I would kind of say, is it true the world sees this as of me? Why does the world think I'm always moving? Why is that a thing? And that comes from, or change of property. Why does the world think that I'm always changing my property? Why does the world associate me with feminine influences? Is it because I'm a woman? Is it because I'm associated with women? How am I being very public in the world as associated with women? Good-natured? Does the world see me good-natured even though I'm always depressed? Well, I'd find the depression elsewhere, but that good nature and that happiness, that's how the world sees me. Start asking yourself, when does the world see me this way? When does the world not see me this way? How do these things interrelate? And that's just a mental exercise you play. And then after you finish your Aries point, you move on. And you would do your meridian, and then you do your ascendant, and it's going to take a lot of time, but it's how you start to understand the system. And that's known as the first assignment. Now, I wrapped up some stuff because they're taking like Jupiter and saying all of these equal Jupiter is something that we would used to have gone back and done after the fact. But at this point, you're really trying to understand the points and how they express in your life. I would say go back over, read the manifestations, check every point that you've done, and you should have done all of them before you start contemplating, and start kind of looking at how that works, and then drop into the Discord to discuss it with us. So I hope that was useful for you, and let me know if you would like more videos like this in the comments. And I will see you on the Discord.